Hello and welcome back to the M2 Podcast. I'm your host, Michael Anthony. My co-host right here is KyleHeath, Mr. J.K. Heath. This is the show where we cover video game industry-related news of the last week. This week, we're going to talk a little bit about apparently Tamagotchi making a comeback. I honestly forgot about it. So the fact that we saw it, I was like, holy crap, I'm 12 again. So pretty cool to see. Discord is rolling out a new program about how they're going to be issuing currency opportunities for people that don't have Nitro. You should get Discord Nitro if you are an avid user. If you're not, it might not be for you, but you can at least earn credits to get Nitro, which is pretty sick. There's also a pretty long article about essentially like what people get wrong about video games, and it comes from Doom's John Romero. Messed up the name, my bad. But there's also he also came into like Helldivers 2 and Power World Leads and stuff like that. Very cool insider info from devs. There's also news about EA that we're going to finish off with. They canceled a Black Panther game. So kind of a bummer at the end, but you know, it's been coming together for a while. If you want to play Marvel games, just get on Marvel Rivals is where it's at right now. But before we get into it, Kyle, how you been, dude? What have you been up to? Love the Blink-182 shirt, by the way. Pretty sick.
Thanks, man. All my favorite bands, you know.
Of course, mine too.
Dude, yeah, I haven't been up to a whole lot. I did hop back on Smite 2 this week. Crazy, right?
Oh yeah,
crazy.
Very nice.
Smite 2.
Dude, you haven't been on Smite in like 7 months. At least.
Probably even longer. Honestly, probably a year.
Yeah, since like last summer. The end of last summer, probably.
It's been a while, dude. I don't know, just got that urge. The boys were able to play, so I was like, let's hop on.
Oh yeah.
Played for a little bit. That was pretty fun.
When the boys are in, you gotta grind.
You have to, dude. Time is fleeting, all right? I only get those little pockets where I actually get to have time with the boys these days, so I've got to take advantage of it.
Yeah, that's a fact. It only gets worse as they get older. I'm telling you.
Yeah, you know. That's why I take advantage of it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so did a little bit of that. I think otherwise, I don't know if I played anything else, honestly. Kind of just like chilling. Memorial Day weekend. And it's kind of funny because like we had a longer weekend. And like the only thing I really played over the weekend was Smite 2. It's the only thing I really played. So
oh no!
I didn't play like much else. That's is what it is, I guess. But
yeah,
I don't know.
Yeah, but I mean that's fine. Like you're super into those games, and just to be back on the gaming grind with the boys is always a good time.
Yeah, it always is. It had been a while, so good to get that in. But yeah, dude. I don't know. Yeah, other than that, dude, just been kind of a chilling, living life. So can't say too much else. But I don't know. What kind of game did you do this week, Mike?
Dude, I had a pretty big variety. So, crashed out on Halo 2, and I was like, you know what, I'm done playing here.
Nice.
Basically, back to back, like terrible stacks. The games were unfair. They weren't fun, and I was just like, why am I doing this? I'm over it. So I stopped playing that. Then I played like OG. So first of all, I played Halo 2 Cartographer. That was not a big fan. And then I played Halo 2 OG with like the CRT that's right next to me.
Yeah.
By the way, I have like the whole room set up now, pretty much. Now it's just I got things I got to hang on the wall to add some aesthetic to it. This is mostly just like the guest room, but we don't really get guests. Honestly, I just put the bed in here because it's the only place for me to put the bed. Nobody sleeps in this room. So I'm about to like chuck it out and then put like a sofa or something.
Yeah, like a couch.
And make it a proper like little like dwelling area or like a den area or something. Yeah, but besides the point. I played a little bit of OG Halo 2. That was fun. Just nostalgic, basically, is all I was going for. Mostly did unpacking, watched a whole bunch of sports. But in terms of gaming, I got back on Marvel Rivals for a little bit, played some ranked. They keep boosting, like Thor, who's one of my best characters, and Rocket, and also Moon Knight. So I'm like, dude, this game is screaming for me to come back. So I'm hopping in, and like, it's been fun. It's been a good time. And then I realized Splitgate 2 beta came out. I was playing that last night for a good couple hours. Very, very fun, dude. The game is much easier than the first Splitgate, for sure. Not in terms of like, what do you call it? Not in terms of like aiming or anything like that. It's pretty much the same. It's same feel, but teleporting across the map is so much easier now than it was in Splitgate 1. I feel like that's at like a detriment to a skill gap. But at the same time, it kind of nerfs like the mouse and keyboard players a little bit. Because like with mouse and key, you can be super, super accurate with your placement of the portals. Where that like the first game. In the second game, this beta version of Splitgate 2, it is very forgiving. Like before you had to be pixel perfect. Like if you didn't have your reticle directly on a wall that you could teleport to or put a portal on, it wouldn't work. Whereas this one, it's like if you're in the general area, you don't have to be exact. You can still get there. And it's funny to me because I'm seeing people on like Twitch. I've been hopping into a bunch of different streams and like seeing people play and like also Halo Infinite playing that. Just checking in with people and I see them complaining. They're like, Splitgate 2 is it's too difficult, it's not casual enough. And I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're talking about because Splitgate 1 was you had to be absolutely cracked, like triple, quadruple portaling across the map, not moving.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do. But it's been fun. Very excited. I'm also in the process of trying to fix my buddy's Eli the Ninja's Xbox. He bricked it by mistake, like his OG box.
This guy.
It's not his fault, to be fair.
Okay,
It's somebody else's fault. He didn't really know what he was doing. Eli didn't, and he was asking for help from somebody that claimed to be an expert, and he basically locked his hard drive out of his console.
Tough.
The good news is I know how to get into it. I got this like adapter over here. I'll kind of show it, but it's basically like a hard drive adapter. It all plugs
Fine.
in. I got the key and everything to unlock it. I've already logged in, and I know for a fact I can get into the hard drive, which is the hardest part. I just need to lock it now, and the only way for me to lock it is I have to know the HDD key, which I do know. So, the only problem is because these drives are so stupid, the way Microsoft set it up, I have to physically shut down my computer and reboot it multiple times until it eventually lets me log in.
Nice.
Just because of the way the hard drives are designed. It's one of those things where like the motherboards are mated to the hard drive that it's used, and you can only lock or unlock the hard drive based on the serial key on the motherboard, unless you have the HDD key, which I do have. So it's like I gotta mimic my Xbox with my PC. I'm like, oh no. And then there's like another hard drive, just like to get into the weeds of it. It's like there's another hard drive where the HDD key is all modded, it's all set up, and then I transferred a bunch of files to it, maybe too quick, and it bricked the old hard drive, I think. Now, it loads the video games on the console, which is good. However, there's no dashboard, and I don't know why that is. So I'm hoping I could just load in and delete the dash that it's trying to boot to, and then it goes to the default one. We'll be good to go. It's just it's very silly, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, it sounds very silly, to be honest. Good
Yeah,
old
but
Xbox.
it's gonna be okay. It'll work.
It's
It'll
gonna
work.
be okay.
It's gonna be okay. The fact is that I plugged it in and I was worried it wouldn't work, and it immediately like clicked in. It was like, yeah, we detect this hard drive. It's an Xbox hard drive. You don't have to reformat it. Double click this. It's already unlocked. It's like, okay, cool. It's already unlocked. I just have to lock it now, and it won't let me because I have to restart my computer. I'm like, nah, we gotta do the podcast and record, so can't let that happen. We'll do it later. Plus, the Canes are playing a little bit later tonight, and you and I are hoping for a good W.
Oh,
It'll be a battle, but as long as I don't know how you are with sports and like teams, as long as I see effort, like true effort, like people just they like that Kobe Bryant Mamba mentality where they won't lose unless they collapse on the floor and have to be sent to the hospital, kind of.
Yep.
Like
Feeling
just
it.
from exhaustion, just leave it all out there, kind of thing.
If you're not playing with the
That's what I'm
flu, get out.
that's what I'm saying. Just like you got to play. That's what I'm getting at. It's gonna be cool, man, and I'm looking forward to it. But anyways, yeah,
Nice.
that's my rambling for now.
Sounds good. I ain't got too much else. We can dive into some news.
Yeah, let's start talking about a little bit of the Tamagotchi.
All I'm saying is, I totally was not showing the screen for like the first 2 minutes. Just saying. And I had to switch it.
Who cares? What do you mean you weren't showing the screen? What, was it a black screen?
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. It was the actual screen the whole time. No issues. Okay. Tamagotchi Paradise has you caring for an entire planet of virtual pets. This is coming from Andrew Lizuski over at The Verge. Using a new dial control, you can zoom from space right down to the cellular level of your Tamagotchi. It's kind of a existential kind of look at
It is.
crazy. There's still plenty of Tamagotchi devices that have you focusing on raising just a single digital character, but the new Tamagotchi Paradise puts you in charge of a planet full of needy dependents. Make it a little easier to navigate its digital world. The device includes a full color screen and complements its 3-button controls with a dial on the side for zooming from a view of the entire planet right down to the cellular level of your virtual pets. Launching in Japan first on July 12th, 2025. For $45, the Tamagotchi Paradise experience starts with you hatching an entire planet in an event called the Egg Bang. Love it. From there, you could zoom in on your world to one of 3 different unique ecosystems called Tama Fields that include land, water, and sky. Which ecosystem you start with is dependent on which of the 3 colored versions of the Tamagotchi Paradise you buy, but you'll eventually be able to unlock all 3 Tama Fields as you play. And even shows them connecting with friends. Crazy. And like literally holding and plugging.
Yeah, that's
wild.
old school. And then you get to like do all these different things with them. I can't believe Tamagotchi's coming back. It's kind of nuts.
Each Tama Field will affect how the Tamagotchi characters grow and evolve through unique activities and foods. The game includes over 50 different Tamagotchis separated into 12 different species that can be raised from eggs. Tamagotchi Paradise expands that with a breeding mechanic, so 2 compatible characters can create new Tamagotchi with 50,000 possible combinations available. 2 Tamagotchi Paradise devices can also be physically connected, letting characters from each interact to potentially start a family or become foes that prank each other and even get in fights. Nice little video is included in the article by a good old Bandai. Shows it. If caring for a planet full of virtual pets isn't hard enough, the device's dial even lets you zoom in on Tamagotchis to the cellular level, which is how you care for and cure them when they get sick. It sounds exhausting, but unlike kids, dogs, or cats, if the responsibilities become overwhelming, you could simply pop out the device's AAA batteries for some respite.
Respite? Is that what it is?
Spite.
Respite or respite? I don't know. I barely
For some rest, you know?
From rest.
From rest. But just a little video I'll play while we kind of discuss. But
did you ever get into Tamagotchi as a kid? Or
I never
ever?
actually owned a Tamagotchi, but there's people at school that did, and I would like watch them play sometimes. I was like, whoa, this is kind of cool. But this is wild, dude. You get a whole planet, you get to zoom in, zoom out. You have like 50,000 combinations you could breed. It's crazy, man.
The thing that kind of blows my mind, so to me, Tamagotchi kind of fell off. I thought like maybe it's just always been popular in Japan because I mean they had freaking Japan Airlines with Tamagotchi on it
It's crazy.
ages ago, probably like 20 years ago. But it initially came out Tamagotchi in 2004, but the availability was in 1996. Apparently, it's handheld digital pets. I mean, that's so cool. I understand that some cultures they aren't very big into pets. I don't know if Japan's one of them. I don't think so, right?
I don't know. I mean, I feel like cats are big over there. I mean, there's dog. I mean, there's some
Yeah,
dogs
yeah,
too. I
that's a
guess.
good point. Yeah,
There's like cat
but you
cafes and
don't.
stuff, right?
Yeah, it's weird because I think our perception's a little bit more skewed because I don't know about you, but I think in movies or TV shows in the US, everybody has a dog or a cat or something like
Yeah.
everybody I know has animals and multiples of them. But you don't see that too often in Japanese like media
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Hey, PewDiePie has dogs. He lives in Japan.
Yeah,
He's a Swedish living in
yeah,
Japan.
yeah. But he has like small little pugs.
Yeah, they're small dogs.
Yeah.
I mean, hey,
This is
dude.
kinda crazy. I knew
Pretty cool.
Tamagotchi got, like, super popular ages back. I'm curious if it's, like if oh my gosh, there's a whole Amazon page. I'm sorry, I'm diving into this now. They're only, like, 15 bucks, some of these, and then other ones get up to, like, 40 or something. Yeah, they can get kinda pricey. I wonder if any of the old ones are up to price. Because I think I had a Tamagotchi maybe for a couple of years, the same way I had a Furby for a couple of years, and then I just kinda fell out of it.
Yeah.
It's like
Yeah, you grow out of
e
it, you know.
every yeah, just yeah, kinda. But it's kinda cool to see that, like, they've apparently always been around. This whole time I've been saying they're making a comeback, and I'm like, "Holy crap, they've been here for ages."
Yeah,
So, never went away.
it's true. It's very true, you know.
Mhm.
That's crazy, man.
I like it, though, that's kinda cool. Wonder what the comments are saying. Somebody goes, my 25-year-old self is looking at this thing, judging it, and wanting it very, very badly.
Yep,
That's funny. Yeah, it's a cool story.
it's amazing. Discord is also kind of amazing.
Yeah, so this one's kind of short but sweet, and it's worth mentioning. So Wes Davis over here at The Verge, also The Verge that we just covered. Discord's new currency pays users to interact with ads. I think I saw this briefly on like Twitter or social media. Somebody making a post. It's pretty good idea in my opinion. So Discord Orbs is what it's called. Will let users earn free Nitro by playing with interactive ads. So Discord is beta testing Discord Orbs, a new in-game currency that can be redeemed for digital items. Discord has announced. So users earn orbs by completing the app's promotional quests. Discord's initiative that rewards participants who interact with advertiser content like videos or stream specific games to friends. In addition to spending orbs on regular items on the Discord shop, users can exchange the digital tokens for orb exclusives like spatial badges or 3-day passes to try out Discord's subscription service. Discord Nitro. So Discord says orbs are rolling out globally to a small number of its users to start before the wider rollout. If you're part of the beta test for orbs, you will get a notification like the one below. Then it shows a little screenshot of start earning orbs. It's pretty cool. So before this, publishers or brands that offered quests had to provide their own rewards, things like avatar decorations or in-game bonuses. They can still do that if they want. Discord spokesperson Bradley Sheets tells The Verge in an email. And awarding orbs is simply an alternative option. Um, yeah, it's kind of cool. It's interesting though because it's like over the longest time, I feel like Discord has always been free, and slowly but surely, they've because of how many people started like getting on Discord and pivoting away from TeamSpeak or any other like-minded app like that. I think they've had to scale appropriately with the servers and all the like the demanding things that are necessary to keep it functional, and then they had to start paywalling stuff. So for us directly, like you and I, we both have Discord Nitro, and we're able to do upgrades to our audio and our video, which is very nice. You can also have like more and more people donate and subscribe to certain servers, which adds the option for more emotes, adds the option for better streaming capabilities. I don't know. What's your take, Kyle?
I mean, yeah, Discord Nitro, like for me, it's definitely something I've had for a while. Yeah, I too agree with your path. Like Discord obviously saw the amount of users. Like when it got a lot of popularity, it's like, oh wait, we can monetize this. So and like rightfully so. I mean, it's a great application. Um, it is. I mean, I think there's been arguments that like some of the UI decisions and stuff people have been like thrown off and they're not super happy with, but for the most part, it's still a
Yeah,
program I enjoy. It's one that I use daily for sure. Kind of one of my main form of communications with a lot of friends, so it's still very
yeah,
valuable to me. But I mean, I think the orb service. This is interesting. It's a way, I guess, of getting people to not only maybe get like if they want to try Nitro for free. It's like, oh, watch some ads. Nice, like people can advertise
yeah,
on it, and it could be a interesting way to and seeing what else to do with these tokens should be interesting. And just seeing like kind of trying to make ads, like give users ads, but like don't have some sort of incentive with it, so it's just not just like this annoying kind of thing that people have to
yep.
watch or like forced to watch kind of thing. It's like doesn't seem to be the case. So hey, I think it'd be interesting and giving people a free way to try out Nitro. I mean, they could try it and like it, and all of a sudden they got another monthly revenue source. So there you go.
Yeah, that's
So
good. That's a good point. Um, there is a lot of things that like Nitro allows you to do, and Nitro Basic because there's like a $10 a month, and then there's a $3 a month. They offer different things like uploading or sending files and file formats. I'm trying to find right now within Discord itself because that's what we're mostly here for. I don't know where it is, so I'm not gonna waste my time too much. But there is options where you start getting. Oh yeah, so there is a view quests section where you can literally like start a quest to go, let's see, open beta quest for Splitgate 2, something I talked about at the beginning of the show. I've been playing that. I have now the option to watch the video to claim a Portal Pulse avatar decoration, and I can keep it with nitro. So it's like that's pretty cool. I might actually watch this after we're done recording so that I can get like a new emblem
Yeah.
for my profile. I mean, there's a couple of things that I have added over time. It's just there's so many options that I've used with Discord, and it's such an app. Like it's an app that I use all the time with so many different things. It's pretty customizable. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm pretty bullish on the take of what they're trying to do. It's like if you're gonna force ads on people, or maybe not force it on people, but if you provide a service for free and you have a decent subscription that you do get some stuff back if you do subscribe, like it might be valuable to you. Uh, but I don't know. It's one of those things where it's like Discord also needs to make money. So they either make money through subscribers or they make money through you doing this Discord orb program where you have to participate in ads. Because engagement like that is probably worth more than just viewing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I would agree. I think it's certainly a value to engagement.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think it's overall it's an interesting service. Trying something new over there at the Discord land, so give it to him.
Oh yeah.
I'll give it to him.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's halfway decent. But you know what else is more than halfway decent is our next article. That is a lengthy one.
Oh,
It's
it's a
pretty
little
much like the main topic
Listen,
of what we're talking about this week.
everyone get your snacks, get your drinks, all right? We're going to be here a little while. If you're driving, keep your eyes on the road, all right? Listen, I'm just
fact.
going to talk into your ear real quick. About this article. This is from Austin Wood over at Games Radar. It's long title, so this is just the title. He says, "We cough up a chunk of our soul." 32 game devs, from Doom's John Romero to Helldivers 2 and Palworld Leads, explain what people get wrong about games. Sam Barlow, Metaphor, Refantasio Leads, Concerned Apes Business Head, Indie Leads, and many more weigh in. These can give a nice little perspective that people probably don't think about, so let's get into it.
Let's go.
Games put a lot of effort into teaching you how they work. It's just enough to get you comfortable in the driver's seat. This is your gas, your brake, your clutch. Here's what you need to operate. Here's what you need to operate this thing. But under the hood, the belts and tanks and pumps and the very appropriate engine, you don't need to worry about those. It's not even your car. Nobody expects players to have developer level knowledge about games, but because games don't dwell on this stuff, because as a player you only get a driver's view, because most studios rarely explain these elements, shout out to the blogs, threads, and GDC talks that do, there are a lot of misconceptions about how games are made. As a result, a lot of people who love games set themselves up for disappointment or frustration with skewed expectations or assumptions. And reading in the perspective, obviously, of the author, thought it would be interesting to unpack some of those misconceptions. Since I don't have dev level knowledge either, I approached this the only way I know how. I asked over 40 devs from around the world, most of them quoted in the story, some inspiring separate stories. One simple but big question: what is something you'd like to clear up that people, especially players, misunderstand about how games are made?
Ooh.
Interesting question.
I like that.
I
like that premise
I know.
like a lot.
Interested to see these responses. All right.
Real quick.
Yeah.
Austin Wood did this at Games Radar, and it took a ton of time and effort. So just quick shout out to him. This is pretty sick.
Link below. Click the article. Give it a read. Come on.
Facts.
Give it some clicks. I knew going into this that making games is hard and expensive, but a comment from Ape Out and Baby Steps Gabe Casulio struck me and really set the tone for this. Quote, "Video games don't want to exist," he says. "Other mediums, you're kind of working with them. Beat a drum, it makes a noise. Nothing is like that in video games. Just by default, they resist existing. They do everything wrong. By force of will, we'll just kind of tear them into shape, patting them down, just trying to contain this chaotic thing." That's an interesting kind of take on that. I never thought about that. But
neither did I.
That's definitely one way of looking at video games. It's like all of this is kind of just like, it's kind of when you think about it, it's probably pretty crazy how some of these games end up working the way they do and actually function the way they do. While many comments in this article are in part informed opinions, and several developers unknowingly disagreed with each other's during separate interviews, Casulio's perspective touches on a common theme. Helldivers 2 creative boss and ex-CEO Johan Pelzit, I'll say it, reasons that the one thing people misconstrue the most is if you think about when movies are made, you get an actor and they're there and you tell them what to say. But games are so meticulously crafted. You have to build the actor from the ground up for them to even be able to perform those lines. People say, can't they add this or do that? Most of the time, all of the decisions that you make, especially the larger the game gets, have so many consequences that cascade, making something that seems easy really hard, or something that seems really hard to be super simple. It's unintuitive unless you've worked in games to see how they're created. It's very true. You get a lot of systems, Mike. You get a lot of things in place. Try to change one thing, it could have consequences.
I don't know, man. Yeah, I guess that's kind of one of those things that it reminds me of Halo Infinite and Halo 5. They were complaining about how certain instances within the main game's menu, like if they added too many playlists, the game would just break, and nobody
Crazy.
knew why.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's probably because like one line of code that is like 10,000 lines back just breaks everything.
These old legacy systems, man. Crazy.
100%. Yeah, sometimes you just got to rebuild from start, and it'd be easier for you.
Yeah. Cole Medeiros, Stardew Valley board game designer and business head at Concerned Ape, agrees, saying, quote, people underestimate how hard it can be to build something seemingly simple, and therefore they often overscope their projects. It's difficult for them to see all the complex systems and restrictions that exist, but are not apparent unless you've actually built and supported a game. So they might not understand why something takes a long time, or doesn't work quite right, or why a bug was not found by the developers. Players do not know how ridiculously much work goes into a video game, says getting over its Bennett Foddy body. Part of that's on us because we show them the bits that are the most fun or silly or glamorous. When devs make updates, it's always a visual, but there's a lot of things that go into the game that's not visual, things that are hard to put into words, says building relationships dev Tanet. That's a crazy last name. I'm just gonna it's Buzayagol. Like God. Tanet. What you see is not the game, it's what's under it, agrees Eagle Knight dev George Fuertes. John Romero, game director at Romero Games, sums it up. Game development is messy, iterative, and non-linear. Game designs aren't clear blueprints like building a house, and it's not a linear process. Finding the fun is not always easy, and sometimes takes a lot of development to demonstrate. Also, with so many interwoven disciplines, changing something in one area often impacts many others and could cause delays. We've seen little glimpses of that before that we've discussed on the pod, like CD Projekt Red, which we didn't include it in this, but they're actually they just started pre-production of Cyberpunk 2, so or 2077 2, whatever they're calling it.
Oh yeah.
So, but yeah, like whenever they did the Phantom Liberty DLC, they had pretty much like completely restructured their dev process and kind of how they actually ended up like making certain aspects of the game. So made it a lot more efficient and made it so that they didn't have the disaster that was the original launch of that game. So
facts. Yeah.
It's crazy, man. Romero mentions an understated but important process, making something people will want to play, not just that they can play. Once a game works and it overcomes all the technical and creative obstacles to run, it may not be fun yet. I'm reminded of Todd Howard's comments on Starfield, saying it took 7 years to find its fun, and that he thought we would find the answers faster. Finding the fun is something Papers, Please creator Lucas Pope mentions. I start with a nicely rounded idea, then immediately dive into the weeds and hang out there for more of the project. He says, I happily assume that the pieces could be put together to make a fun game, with only a vague idea of how. That idea changes as the pieces are completed. It really makes me kind of wonder too, like how many of these games are made and like how different the initial vision is from the actual finished product and like how much that varies across studios. Makes me wonder that.
I feel like it's got to be a lot too, because like the bigger the game, the more bugs, but sometimes the bugs can be really exciting for the players.
Yeah.
But then the devs get upset and they're like, this is what we wanted to create. And then all of a sudden they just patch it. And then all the players are like, why would you do that? It was so cool and so much fun. And now it's ruined.
Yeah.
You know, how that can just happen sometimes.
It's crazy. XCOM creator Julian Gallup, House CEO of Snapshot Games, largely agrees. It's such an incredibly iterative process that normally takes you, in some cases, far away from your original conception. When you say you're a game designer, if you've designed the game, well, what do you do the rest of the time it's in development? Constantly iterating and testing and refining all the data inside the game. The whole iterative process of game creation is maybe something that people don't appreciate very much. That's a good question. Like, I've never thought about it. It's like, oh, game designer, like, you feel like most of their work is probably at the front end, like pre-production kind of thing. But I mean, even during development, you still have stuff that changes. So, well,
it's brutal.
Yeah. 4 members of the processors team at Heart Machine offered an example of how things come together. Producer Marimi Chappelle discussed the making of a boss fight and how multiple people across disciplines will put their fingerprints on that small section. Making a game is much more collaborative than I think people think it is. Director Alex Preston notes that adding another person to a dev team can also add a multi-dimensional complexity to how the team works. Writer Laura Midgett dismisses the idea that one person could or should take matters into their own hands because, as Romero also said, changes affect more than that one person. And on the other hand, narrative director Tyler Hutchinson points out that adding more people doesn't inherently make things go faster. Making games is a communication problem, he says, and more people complicates that communication.
That's every type of team based.
I feel like it's any discipline, any industry. Like, it's crazy.
100%. I think anybody that's worked in a team can relate to that.
You add a new guy, it's like, all right, well.
Oh, great. We got to get him up to speed.
Oh, no.
It's like, oh, gosh. And then get yelled at because you're not billing the hours to project time.
Because you're not doing your thing. And it's like, all right, the teacher's gone.
Oh, no.
The human element of game dev was another recurring point. New Blood Interactive head Dave Orshry now unreasonably reasons that most players know next to nothing about how games are made. There are more similarities to film and TV production than you would think, he explains, highlighting the way development teams coalesce. With the exception of solo devs, games are an artistic endeavor and require the cooperation of handfuls, dozens, hundreds, or even thousands of people at once working together to create interactive art. You could put all the great programmers, artists, animators, and sound designers you want in the same building, but that doesn't mean that they can make a great game. Great games are made by great teams that work great together. It helps when they're all friends, too. It's true, man. That's why some of these devs, dude. It's why we get these bum games, dog. Like,
hey, you said it.
I won't name names, but like some of these games, bro. Just saying. Likewise, focusing on the human aspect. Iconoclast creator Joachim Sandberg worries the vocal audiences still lack empathy for the staff of a company. There's an idea that one person, like the director, is responsible for every popular aspect of the game. Video games have many directors. A game is its team, not its auteur. I don't know if I said that right. Auteur? I don't know.
Auteur?
Auteur.
It's not auteur. Well, let's see.
Auteur.
Hold up. I'll figure it out. You can keep on going.
One such director, David Jimenez at Altered Almonds 2 Awesome, describes his role as creative director as like directing an orchestra. You have to manage people rather than manage the game. My job is making them all work together in the right direction. There you go. Games are for the people. Or games are their people. It's why a studio's output can feel so different if key creatives leave or are laid off to assure investors a number will go up for a quarter. Dang, bars.
Speak of facts.
Teams of a similar structure can also differ widely. Off-Brand Game CEO David Gorman notes, there's not one type of development team, just as there isn't one way to make a game. Instead, depending on their background, certain things might be easier or harder for them. One way these assumptions manifest, Power Publishing manager John Buckley finds, is that people have very unrealistic expectations of timelines. Titans like Fortnite or Call of Duty suggest content can be pumped out in days or weeks, but those games are made with unparalleled resources. The overwhelming majority of devs, things take exponentially longer. It's true, man.
I agree with that, but there are devs that I know of that claim that they're going to be doing weekly or seasonal updates. Like a good example of this, 343 Industries claimed that Halo Infinite at launch would have updates bi-weekly. And the only thing these guys updated was the freaking store for years.
Tripping.
And then started adding content that was in previous Halos before. And the new Halo players are just like, oh, this is new. This is awesome. This is so cool they added. It's like, bro, this was in Halo 3 20 years ago. But you know what I mean? But I mean, that's a strong like exception to what he's talking about. But what I'm saying is just like, as long as you set the expectation of what the customer is gonna like, like set the expectation of what to expect.
Exactly.
Kind of redundant for the department of the redundancy department. It's like it's just you need to set the expectation, and as long as you do, then people are going to be okay. That's one of the reasons why people got so mad at Todd Howard with Fallout. He set the expectation that it was like one of the best games ever, and it launched. It was broken. Yep. What do you expect people to feel? Anyways,
it's true, dude.
Let's keep chugging along, brother.
I think gamers have just become so used to this kind of constant cycle that they're now applying it to every game they play, Buckley adds. A new island in Pal World, that's half a year's work. That takes 6 months. And when it comes out, people are super excited, but you just get so many nasty comments before that about these things. Okay, I had to work on this article, man. I know it's a long one, but like, anyway. And you try to explain it, and there will always be a few gamers who get it, and they really appreciate that dialogue, but quite a lot of them don't.
Yeah, that's fair.
Iron Lung and Dusk's David Zemansky believes communication between players and developers in the indie sphere is pretty open, or at least it is when both parties allow it to be. Richard Atlas, CEO and creative director of Ultimate Sheep's Raccoon's Clever Endeavor, thinks players are easily converted from having a lot of complaints to really empathizing if you speak to them as humans. I understand why you're annoyed about this feature we just made. Here's why we did it, and here's what we had to sacrifice in order to do this thing.
That's fair. I mean, there are definitely there's a lot more transparency going on in the indie space because obviously they have the ability to explain why things are the problem that they are. But if you have something like a really big like AAA developer and their publisher is on the US New York Stock Exchange,
it's like,
you don't really get that luxury of being like, I mean, we don't know what we're doing. We're trying to figure it out.
I don't think it's in their best interest.
Stocks will tank.
It's not in their best interest to be transparent. So it's like,
no, exactly what I'm trying to say.
It's true. Yeah, I totally agree. I mean, I think to a certain extent, you just get too big for your own good. So it's like you could do the transparent approach, but like if you do it, you're at risk of like stock tanking and losing investors. So
exactly, and then no more games.
Yeah, no, it's like, well, that's shut down the studio or
exactly.
Yeah. All right, we got a little bit left. This kind of rapport becomes especially valuable when games stumble or break. Some of the shakiest theories and worst arguments can surface when players are unhappy with games. A time when feedback is arguably most important, and this is when once harmless misconceptions can poison the well. I'm not suggesting people who make games can do no wrong. That design or monetization missteps shouldn't be criticized. As ex-BioWare community dev Frank Sanchez told me for my story on why online games always break at launch, there are valid reasons to hold devs accountable, and if problems aren't being addressed, put their feet to the fire and say, hey, I'm not having a good experience. This is why. Don't harass them.
Yeah, facts.
You could be polite. Most people aren't. Keyboard warriors, you know how it is. Countless devs have said it. Player feedback is essential. Even the biggest teams can't test and find everything themselves. Inchfor creator and Shrower creator Brian Berge put it this way: there's nothing I appreciate more than someone writing out a post about a mechanic and how they think it can be better. But as Fallout's Tim Kaine said, there are good and bad ways to give feedback, and a lot of these ties to how problems happen in games and how they can be fixed. Behind a lot of releases that just didn't turn out the way people expected them to, there was a dev team trying its absolute hardest to make that game as good as it could possibly be under challenging circumstances, says Romero Games CEO and studio director Brenda Romero. We cough up a chunk of our souls for these games, and while a non-optimal release sucks, I can assure you that the dev team tried everything in its power to deliver on that vision. I think there might
Bro,
be
I hear what he's saying, but I mean, like,
there,
you
look,
can't be just launching broken games.
yeah,
I don't care.
I think there's some truth in that, but I think to a certain extent, like to your point, can't launch something broken, but also like if something is broken, is it the fault of the dev or is it like the higher ups telling, oh, you got to push this game out? And we're like, it's not ready. And they're like, well, sorry, you got to make money.
I hear you, I feel you, but you can't have it both ways. You can't be like, "Oh, I'm a victim of the circumstance where I'm getting pushed down by like the publisher, and I just can't meet the deadline. It's all broken. We gotta ship it anyway." It's like, dude, you do that and you tank your entire reputation. It's one of those things where like this new era of move quick and break things that I keep seeing everywhere. It's usually like starting with tech startups, but now it's starting with like video games and it's spreading into like movies or shows, music. Cars is a good example of that. How many times have we seen Toyota pushing out cars that are unfinished and now they're having like massive recalls of entire models? It's like
Yeah.
Toyota's a highly reputable brand, very reliable, and you have to do a recall because your cars are like catching fire. So I think there needs to be a culture shift of just fix the freaking game, man. Don't launch it broken. It's that simple.
That's why we see delays,
If you
dude.
launch it broken and you charge money for it, you might as well be stealing, in my opinion,
Might as well,
because
dude.
you're lying about the promise of what the game is.
Wait,
And I don't
we're
mean this in the way of like, oh, I don't like the game. It wasn't my type of thing. It's like, no, like I can't play level one because it's so busted. Like the graphics aren't
because I get
loading.
5 frames and I can't fix it.
Yeah. Imagine going to the movies and you miss out on an entire vital piece of the section of the movie, and it completely cuts you out
Yeah.
of the movie experience. You know, it's not just a bad movie. Like, there are bad movies. I see and love bad movies,
Yeah.
but I'm gonna be pissed if I miss 20 minutes of it,
Yeah.
you know?
It's true. It's very true.
Yeah. I see what he's saying, though. I get it. I'm adding an asterisk, is what I'm
Yeah.
saying.
Mike Spin. Tiny Bill CEO Alex Nichaporchik, so I'm going to say that, says making games is
Yep.
insanely difficult, especially before you've announced and had some traction. When you're wondering if anyone will care, and if they do, if you can meet expectations. There's a constant battle between the realities of trying to make a game under a time frame and a budget and all that other stuff, and how difficult it is to do one little thing. Goes Graffiti Games lead producer Troy Seaman. When you add all that stuff, that's where you start to see delays and other issues that I think cause a lot of games that people see as being bad or rushed. People think developers have a lot of malice behind anything they do when it's actually just them trying to make sure they get the best game possible. Adds indie dev Ariel Knight. When things do launch with bugs and there's no way to make the game without bugs, it's nothing they left in because they didn't care. Szymanski targets the idea of dev laziness as a blanket explanation of missing buggy features or seemingly hacky implementation. He says these decisions are nearly always driven by an unseen web of more complex issues and or external pressure. He worries online tutorials and tools can be a bit of a double-edged sword in this instance, because it's now very easy to acquire enough knowledge to make broad, incorrect assumptions about how easy a given task should be. With his recent game Butcher's Creek, Szymanski found that something that sounds like a simple fix for AI and animations actually would have required overhauling huge chunks of the game. Some developers I spoke to were hesitant to call out players. Others, like veteran dev Andrew Gilmore, best known for Slain and Volferis, reckon players don't care as long as the game is good. So he may even advise devs to stop trying to explain your process and get back to actually working on your game. If you don't have, and if you have done it correct, you won't have to explain it. Liza P director Joanne Cho was of a similar mind. Via Interpreter, he said, in the end, if I make a good quality game without having to go into the details of all the challenges we went through, I believe the fans will see it.
Yeah.
It's true, dude. Make a good game.
I mean, both of those things are very true and make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
It's clear and obvious to me. It's just make a good game. Nobody's going to care. There are going to be super fans that want to know how in the world did that like how in the world were you able to do that? It's going to be a very niche section of your like fan base. I think it's probably the way to say
Yeah.
customer base. But those are going to be the people that are like they want to make their own video game, So
Yeah.
or they want to be a part of the team and contribute to the game. That's how a lot of modding starts. A lot of these people, they're just like they always want to be video game creators themselves, so they mod your existing game to like add things to it, and in their mind they're adding to it. Um, yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting take, but I do agree with both of what they're saying.
Yeah. No, I do too. I think, yeah, I mean, I think like for someone like me, it's always fun to see the kind of like interweavings of like and seeing like the behind the scenes stuff. I always find that stuff interesting. But yeah, I mean, I realize most people don't know. They're just like, oh, just make a good game. So
Yeah,
yeah,
exactly.
I mean,
Yeah,
I think at the end of the day, like there is a lot that goes into something, but like as long as it's good, you'll get the recognition and you'll get like people enjoying it.
precisely.
And
Yeah,
it's the reality of it is most people just don't care about the blood, sweat, and tears that went into it. It's kind of just not. I feel like that's what most people they just as long as the game's good, like they're cool with it. So interesting way of looking at it, but yeah.
yeah.
What I wanted from this story was a look into how devs think about games and why games require the resources they do, and a broader perspective on game development that doesn't rely on jargon I frankly wouldn't understand either. If there's a theme to all of these responses, it's that making games is hard and expensive and time consuming, and also diverse and messy and collaborative, often in unseen and unpredictable ways. Games are 3D shapes, and playing them only shows you one side. We won't know if that square is part of a cube or a pyramid. So we should criticize games, interrogate claims, and share opinions. But we should also resist the urge to generalize and assume, because wrong assumptions can become an obstacle to our own experience and feedback, and it is so incredibly avoidable. Yeah, kind of a little PSA to the broader public at the end. She's like, hey, don't come for the
Yeah,
heart of these people, man. Like, listen.
yeah, you shouldn't take it personal. It's not malicious. Is basically what
Yeah,
I'm getting out of it.
yeah,
Uh, I really do, like, I really, really do think there are decisions that are made at like the behest of shareholders or the behest of corporations and stuff like that. Helldivers 2 being a great example of that. What Sony did,
yeah.
they were like, "Oh yeah, we're gonna take it off PC and we're gonna make it so you have to have a Sony like PlayStation membership." It's like, dude, you just nuked your entire fan base like overnight, crashed the game because it was getting up to that almost apex of insane content creation. Like everybody just then, all the big content creators just then started to play it. But the moment that happened, okay, cool. Now you just created like a million viral YouTube videos of people trashing your game and your policies instead of people talking about how good the game is. So there is elements of like external forces that will take a good game and then tarnish it. But then there's also internal forces, in my opinion, where the developers are shipping out games that are not complete or they're buggy and it's destroyed. I just find it entirely unethical to release a product that is unfinished. That's just how I've always
True.
viewed it.
Yeah.
Um, I get minor bugs, I get errors, I get balance changes, but I mean, like, dude, I can't play like level 5 because it's just fails to load or something. Like, that's a major bug. How does that happen?
Yeah.
And,
It's wild.
and I need an apology tour if it did happen. It's like I need to know
Yeah.
why. Like,
Um,
I don't know, man.
it
It's
was it was
tough.
like it's like when I played Silent Hill 2 remake last year. I remember I
Yeah,
played it so early. I got to a point where there was like I think there was still a few hours left in the game, but like I got to a point it was actually a
yeah, you
game
should.
breaking bug, and I literally couldn't progress until they patched it. And they were like, "We're aware
Yeah,
of it, and we're working on the patch." And like 2 days later, they patched it. It was crazy. It was like
yeah.
I hadn't run into something like that in a while, where it's literally like a game halting bug. But
Well, but so what I'm saying is like I'll build the bridge here. That was at the end of the game,
yeah,
right? And apparently you had to do like a certain amount of things in a certain way for it to break. So it didn't happen to everybody. There were other people that actually got through, no issues. I've had those experiences before too, where I was playing like I think Tony Hawk was one of them. One of the like I can't remember which one it was. It was when you could do an Xbox Live update. Um, and I got to a point where I glitched out of the map and it broke my profile and I couldn't progress any further and it trapped me there. And I never understood why. So then I went and like create a new profile and I just progressed through a game again, but I was able to beat the game. That's not what I'm
yeah,
talking about. Like those errors happen. It is what it is. But to get to the point where it's like
fundamental broken.
Cyberpunk when it launched I know people that were playing on the Xbox One, I think it was. Didn't that? I think that's
PS4, Xbox One. Yeah.
yeah. And there were elements within that version of the game where you were going through cutscenes where you literally couldn't see anything
Yeah.
at all.
You'd walk out of the street, cops were literally Play-Doh, like it was like no
Yeah.
textures. It was bad.
Yeah. And it's like, dude, how do you launch that?
It's wild.
You know?
It's
And
insane.
even on the Xbox Series X, it was partially broken. I know people that beat the game and they're like, yeah, it's a buggy field mess. You should probably wait a year.
Yeah.
A year?
Better game.
365 days?
I feel yeah.
And they launched it?
Hey man. I played on PC. There was still a lot of bugs I ran into. Thankfully nothing game breaking, but still a lot I ran into.
You know what's an here's a hot take. Side note. This is out of the developer's control and I feel for them. Because I don't know anybody that would be a game developer and put this type of practice in. When Battlefront 2 launched and they basically made it loot box hell, where you couldn't play like Darth Vader or any Star Jedi or Sith Lord or anything like that, any signature character from the Star Wars universe without playing an absurd amount of hours or spending $50 on a game that you already paid for. Like actual $60, and now you have to pay like another 20 or another 30, another 40 per like per individual character. That is, in my opinion, game breaking. It's not a bug, it's just like by intention. And EA had one of the worst backlashes I think I've seen in gaming after that. It's like iconic. That's going to be in the history books of what not to do to your fan base. Speaking of which, it's making a comeback, just side note. But
Sure
people
is.
are starting to play it
Saw
again.
that.
Yeah.
Saw that, man. You know what will not even be making an appearance?
EA. Speaking of which,
EA
actually, that's funny.
EA is a company.
EA. Honestly, EA, I think, was rated one of the most hated companies in the US. I think it was like top 3 was EA. What was the other one? EA, Wells Fargo, and there was another one that was like horrifically bad.
JP Morgan Chase.
No, Chase isn't that bad. I mean, Wells Fargo's terrible, bro. Wells Fargo
really
is
bad.
Wells Fargo in parentheses accidentally charging consumers double their mortgage in 1 month. Like just
dude. Accidentally, dude.
Yeah, accidentally. Okay. Open up fake accounts and then charging like $5 per account so that they can meet their quotas and make like $5,000 extra a year. Dude, that company needs to be buried. Whatever. Side note. Talking about the worst companies in the world. Let's get into EA. So EA cancels Black Panther game. They close Cliffhanger Games. So this is the 3rd round of layoffs at EA this year. Electronic Arts is canceling its planned Black Panther game and shutting down developer Cliffhanger Games, IGN has learned. In an email sent to staff from EA Entertainment, President Laura Miley said that these changes, alongside other recent cancellations and layoffs, are being done to sharpen our focus and put our creative energy behind the most significant growth opportunities. That's the most EA response ever. In addition to closing Cliffhanger and canceling Black Panther, EA is also laying off some individuals on both its mobile and central game teams. When asked for an exact number of individuals impacted, EA declined to comment, which means they're probably still firing
like
people.
Hundreds of people still going.
Still going. So IGN understands that the number of affected individuals is in this wave is less than the roughly 300 roles cut last month across Respawn and EA's fan care teams, but cannot confirm by how much. Melee? It's gotta be
Super Smash Bros.
Melee? I'm struggling, dude. Oh, jeez. Okay, so Laura over here, EA Entertainment president, went on to say, "These decisions are hard. They affect people we've worked with, learned from, and shared real moments with. We're doing everything we can to support them, including finding opportunities within EA where we've had success helping people land in new roles." As with past rounds of layoffs, EA is endeavoring to place affected individuals in other roles across the company. The company has made use of this placement program with each round of layoffs in recent years, an effect that remains possible despite the constant team cuts likely due to EA seemingly distractedly drastically, Jesus, drastically increasing headcount on other teams at the same time. Per Game Files reporting, EA employed 800 more people as of March of this year than it did the same time in 2024. So at least they're hiring. That's a little caveat. So this is after Iron Man and Black Panther, what should be EA's next Marvel rival game, and then it's just a bunch of clips over here on IGN. By the way, this is IGN Rebecca Valentine. So to that end, Mealy's email continues. The company is focusing on a small handful of franchises going forward: Battlefield, The Sims, Skate, and the Skate game, and Apex Legends. Mealy also reassures EA will continue to invest in his Iron Man game at Motive and the third Star Wars Jedi game. Pretty sick. I actually haven't played the first two. I need to. As well as it maintains its mobile business despite today's cuts, while BioWare works on the next Mass Effect. Additionally, last year, CEO Andrew Wilson announced the company would be moving away from development of future licensed IPs that we do not believe will be successful in our changing industry. We actually covered that article that they linked. It was last year. So this email from EA president said, the email doesn't mention EA Sports, but this is due to Mealy running EA Entertainment, while EA Sports is a separate division. IGN understands that the sports division is unaffected by these changes for now. From what I understand, EA Sports and like EA FC or whatever is like football FC is not really panning out well.
Mm.
I saw that very briefly. I didn't look into it. I just know that's the rumor. Notably, Marvel and EA's agreement for Black Panther was part of a 3-game deal that included Iron Man and a third unannounced title. IGN announced or understands this partnership will continue, with Motive Studios leading future Marvel titles. EA provided the following statement regarding the deal with Marvel to IGN, attributed to Mealy. Our partnership with Marvel remains strong, and our multi-title long-term collaboration continues. So little has been shown of Black Panther so far since its announcement in 2023, though we know from a job listing it was to be a single-player action-adventure open-world game. Black Panther was being developed by the newly formed, now closed Cliffhanger Games, which was formed in 2023 with some former developers of Middle-earth: Shadow of Mordor and headed up by Kevin Stevens. Kind of a bummer because I would love another Lord of the Rings game, Shadow of Mordor. These cuts come on the heels of multiple other rounds of layoffs and cancellations at EA over the last few years, and especially in 2025. Just last month, EA laid off roughly 300 individuals, including 100 at Respawn, while canceling an in-development Titanfall game and another incubation project. Earlier this year, EA restructured BioWare, moving some developers to other projects and laying off others. In 2024, there was a massive restructuring at EA that resulted in 670 workers laid off company-wide, including around 24 workers at Respawn. And in 2023, 50 jobs were cut at BioWare and an unknown number were cut at Codemasters. Funny, Codemasters has been like all over my freaking LinkedIn page about open jobs. Meanwhile, EA recently implemented mandatory return to office for all workers, a move that some employees told IGN has left many currently remote workers with concerns about what will happen to their roles long term. When asked for comment on the exact number impacted, the results of these repeated cuts, or if more cuts are expected in the near future, EA referred the IGN back to the email from Mealy's, and Marvel has not yet responded to IGN's request for comment. What do you think, Kyle?
Mandatory return
What
to
do you
office.
think? Yep.
That's crazy. Crazy. Listen. It's just wild they canceled this game and then they have a multi-game contract with Marvel, and it's like this game must have been pretty far along or like seemed decently long, and they just canceled it.
I mean, it says started in 2023. I mean, the studio started then. So, what do you think? Like a year and a half worth of development, because it probably takes around 3 to 6 months just to get up and running. I would guess.
Yeah, I mean, something like that. It's wild, dude. Makes you wonder what the game is going to be like. But it's like, EA making the Marvel games doesn't make me, like super hype about it, I guess, personally. But not to say that I have no faith in these studios. But it's really just EA's, like, that's the thing. It's like the handover. That's kind of like, I don't know. But I would have still been interested to see what see more info on this and see this further along. So kind of sucks that it got canned, but and another studio shut down, man. It's just, dude, I don't know. It's always rough to see. You see all these people losing their roles and losing their jobs, man. It's like,
yeah,
EA,
it's
dude.
true.
Electronic Arts challenge
Laying
everything.
people off. I'm absolutely shocked, but not really.
Wild, man. Absolutely
I don't know,
insane.
man. It's kind of unbearable for EA. If they don't fall in love with the product quickly and often, it's not successful. They just abandon it. Kind of how they always been. It's kind of a shame because some projects are like redeemable, other ones not so much. It just it depends on the situation. But these guys, kind of a bummer not to see a Black Panther game. I'm sure they're probably gonna reuse stuff. Honestly,
Yeah.
what are the other Marvel games that are coming out that they said? Yeah, Black Panther. Was Captain America one of them? I literally just read it out loud, and I can't even remember.
Yeah, I can't remember either. It's bad.
Falling apart.
We're a great show. We're a great show. We do a really good job,
Well, it's a 3. Yeah, Iron Man. Sorry, Iron Man. I would imagine Captain America would be the other one because
I would imagine
it's either Captain America or Thor. I would very much like to play a Thor game, just because I'm a big Thor guy.
be fun.
Yeah, Black Panther, Iron Man, and probably Captain America. Those would probably be the 3 main ones that could carry the torch for Marvel. It's tough though, it really is. Yeah, because EA can't do Spider-Man, can it? I think Sony still owns those rights.
Yeah, it's a good question. Actually, I don't know. I have
I
no
don't think
idea.
they can. The problem that I always have with EA is they go out and they buy like the rights to IPs and they lock game development under their studios, and it's like sometimes their studios just aren't what I want to see. It's like the Star Wars IPs. They pushed out how many games? Like 4?
Dude.
Maybe 5?
Something like that.
And they had it for 10 years?
What about Star Wars 1313? The unseen title that had so much promise and was so hyped, and then they were just like, bam, out of here.
See,
bam.
I don't
Not
know.
coming out.
It's just what they do, man. It's just what they do. It's tough though. It's very tough. Sometimes this is why I said earlier, and I gave the whole dissertation about how EA is toxic and it's not a good company. This is the kind of crap. Why? Like they have the rights to. I'm pretty sure they have the rights to all Lord of the Rings games. Like, bro, why is it only Shadow of Mordor?
Why are we closing Monolith, bro? Why?
You know what I mean? Like, why?
It just doesn't make sense.
Just a shame. Just a shame.
Make another Gollum and see how the community reacts. I dare you. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, that's actually now I'm remembering why they stopped. Yeah, oh god.
Gollum.
All right, brother. We're at our hour mark, and we covered all the articles.
Sure did.
Today's episode. Pretty cool. Do you have anything to add? Because you and I, we got 10 minutes to puck drop. We got to get on
it. Gotta get on it, dude. I gotta. If I see a victory today, it's gonna be Canes and 7. I'm gonna write it on the whiteboard at work tomorrow. I'm just gonna.
I already had it on my whiteboard.
I'm probably gonna go to the office tomorrow. I just write it on the board.
I saw a post on social media, and I totally empathize with it, like 100%. Totally related to it, and it said, "I'm starting to let the delusion take over." Canes and 7.
Canes and 7. It's so good.
It's just, this is a rebuilding year for us, man. I'm just happy to be here. I don't want them to get embarrassed. And they got the monkey off their back,
dude.
They got the monkey off their back, dude.
They really did.
And 15,
the biggest thing.
Bro.
That was the biggest thing. Like because I know a lot of people were like, a lot of commentators and stuff I saw were like, well, were they really going for the win and like giving it their all just to get rid of that monkey on the back? Like, is that the only reason they did it? Like, not just trying to win?
I don't think it's the only reason. They've been playing. They've had moments of greatness in Game 3, but man, was it challenging to watch in that third period when it all fell apart. I was so mad. I've never seen it crumble like that before.
I don't know. I don't remember. Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, facts. Keep watching every game and just get mad. Here's my process with like esports, with video games, with teams, with like sports or anything. So long as my team gets better and there's progress, like if they keep moving up, like if they get if they have a losing season, I want next step neutral or winning season. After that, playoffs. Then just try to get further in the playoffs. That's
Yeah.
all I care about. And this right now is progress because it's like they keep making the playoffs, but when they get the conference final, 0 wins, dog.
Yeah.
0?
It's crazy.
Yeah, you can't. Now we got 1.
That's not gonna win. It's not gonna work. You're not gonna get a Stanley Cup doing that. It's not gonna happen.
Fact.
Crazy.
But anyways, I digress. Nobody really cares about that because this is a video game podcast. So let's let the people go. For those of you that are still with us, we appreciate you. Links are in the description below, along with timestamps. We have tiny URLs and everything. Go check that out. Social media links as well. Kyle, you have anything to add real quick?
No, nothing, dude. That's all I got.
All right, sick.
Play some games.
I'm Michael Anthony. Yeah, play the games. I'm Michael Anthony. That's Kyle Heath, the GM2 podcast. We'll see you guys next week. Have a good one. Next week, we're going to cover video game releases of June. So tune in.
I was going to say, what we're looking at next week? Is next week Summer Game Fest on Thursday?
Is it? Yeah, it is.
It might be. I think it's Summer Game Fest next week.
I thought Summer Games Fest was the second week. It's the first full week of June, and yeah, we have a full week that starts on Sunday.
Oh, brother. Pretty sure it's Thursday at 5 p.m., I think.
If I remember correctly, we do our normal weekly episode, and then
we could do a separate one.
The Summer Games Fest recap episode.
Yeah, we could. I'm down.
Yeah, we'll do that. Anyways, not a lot of news are going to come up next week. That's for dang sure. So we'll see you guys later. Take it easy. Keep gaming. Adios.